Good morning. It is Tuesday, July the 20th. I'm back in the reading nook very early in the morning to take advantage of the cooler temperatures before it gets very hot today. It's due to get to 29 degrees later or hotter. I have 3 parcels to 1 box, and of course a nice hot cup of tea. So I'm going to continue diving into this one. I've already opened it once and pulled out the first of 2 books, which is that HeroQuest Glorantha, which has gone out of print this very last week, but it is thoroughly recommended as a solid storytelling focused role-playing game and introduction to Glorantha. If you do not own a copy, it is well worth you finding one. But I wish you well with that. In the meantime, the other book in the package is The Coming Storm, the Red Cow Volume 1. Join the heroes of the Red Cow. In Sartar, the Red Cow clan are surrounded by their enemies and occupied by the Lunar Empire. To their south, the Colbria tribe cast greedy eyes on the clan's cows. To the north, the treacherous Dinacoli seek vengeance for old wounds. And to the east, the monstrous Telmori, a tribe of werewolves, listen to a new leader, Joga Sog, who calls on the wolfmen to slaughter their neighbours. The winds that bring the hero wars are blowing. Can your heroes see your clan through the coming storm? The Coming Storm is the guide to the Glorantha setting of the Red Cow clan in Sartar, with over 60 detailed and illustrated NPCs, write-ups of all the major locations, maps, history of the Cincina, and details of the neighbouring Duluth, Tupine and Emerald Sword clans. Also covered are the Telmori werewolves, Wolfsland settlers, local rebel leaders, and the Ghouls of the Woods of the Dead. This book covers everything you need to run a classic clan-based Sartarite campaign. The Coming Storm forms the setting for the forthcoming 11 Lights, an epic campaign taking the Red Cow through the opening days of the Hero Wars from 1618 to 1625. One of the features of the Red Cow clan do not take part in any of the events, essentially running up to the Dragon Rise in 1625, but they do have their own story to tell, and that is told in the 11 Lights, which is the second part of this, so essentially volume 2 and the companion to this. That's the campaign, and if you don't have a copy of that, go and find a copy of that to go with this. Both are worth getting, because essentially you have a complete description of a community, and where to place your player characters in that community, and the connections to the other members of the community, and then it draws them into the campaign, and it is truly epic. I've reviewed both this and volume 2, the 11 Lights. I would thoroughly recommend picking up both. So essentially we dive in and it starts discussing, preparing for play before starting, discusses genre, mode, setting, and gives you the premise and the narrative hooks, and really helps prepare you in terms of the campaign to come. You'll see there's it says it's not a standalone game, and tells you what you need to play this, and how to use it with the existing characters and Coming Storm and other published Sartarite campaigns and so on, and puts it in basically in context. The interesting thing is that you can actually take this material and adapt it to the system of your choice. I have come across campaigns being run of this using the RuneQuest rules, which is simulationist, but still work. So we have a guide to making Red Cow clans. Now, also Red Cow characters are the interesting things. That the Red Cow clan is famous for the colour of its cows, which are red. So we have, here's the clan sheet and description of the clan. Essentially, one part of playing HeroQuest and certainly with Sartar Kingdom of Heroes is that you have a questionnaire which essentially asks you about your clan and its features, and here is the answers for the clan and how they relate to you, and so essentially all the background, number of people, bloodlines, households, marriage, customs, and so on. Get everything setting you up, basically giving the background for your playthrough of the actual campaign itself. Although you don't have to play through that, you could just take this content and use it as is, as a book of source material for a campaign of your own choosing involving the Red Cow clan. So we have clan treasures, listing them all, essentially the important gods in the clan. So that's always important, basically, and the number of worshippers at Anelda and Orlanth predominate, but Bantar, Seven Mothers, Hela, Yinkin, and so on, others all figure, and there are others there as well, but they're minor in comparison. We've got some sample characters, so essentially a player could easily choose any of these concepts, so for Vengeful Hunter, and Rattleborn Warrior, Fearless Healer, Honourable Thane. Interesting things, the Rattleborn Warrior, essentially Rattleborn or babies brought to early maturity by placing Orlanth's rattle in their cradle when the clan needs warriors. So essentially it's a case of, okay, children are born, the clan needs warriors, and they are essentially they are accelerated up through their childhood to maturity. I mean, that's not without its essentially its consequences, because essentially they've missed out years of maturing and becoming proper full adults, in the sense with all the experiences. They've not had that kind of experience. So you've got different character concepts here. Also things like the Honourable Thane, Laughing Mercenary, Fearless Healer, Hard-Bitten Cattle Raider. It's always interesting, like cattle raiding is a feature of Glorantha. It's also basically Hortling and Sartarite life, because it's seen as if it's done properly, it's done as an honourable action, and it's a way of showing off who you are, and proving your worth to the clan, and also basically a way of gaining glory, and also sticking your thumb up at the clan you've just raided, and if it goes wrong, you could be into a lot. At the same time, if it goes wrong, you could be in a lot of trouble, as evidenced if you look through the Broken Tower, which is the quick start for RuneQuest role-playing in Glorantha. Then we could come on to the Red Cloud clan itself. So here's a description of the clan lands. So we have here's a map of Red Cow Fort. Nice hilltop fort. Basically classic kind of Bronze Age stroke Iron Age kind of hill fort. I'm fascinated by those kind of structures, because I'm from I grew up in an area where there are within about 5 miles there are at least 2 hill forts close to where I grew up. We have a gazetteer of the lands, and then essentially an older style map for their lands. And when I say that, essentially, basically again, just as this will be superseded with a new version, and this will be superseded by a new version, Glorantha's maps are being superseded by new versions. Maps drawn by Matt Ryan. If you have a chance to see them, they are superb. They're really detailed and gorgeous. And then so we have descriptions of the important people of the Red Cow clan, so who members of the inner ring, the clan council. But you have multiple rings, different councils for different aspects of the clan life. Here we have an illustration of the members of the the inner ring, and full write-ups of these. Brody Strongkin, you've got essentially his important runes, his bloodline faction within the tribes, because the tribe isn't is of course got different factions in it, different political views, different outlooks, and so on. His age, keywords, his magic, and what he looks like. And it does this for all of the major NPCs in the tribe. So we'll go on to the housecarls, basically the warriors, the priests, the headmen. It's just a huge wealth of detail, just a huge amount of background in here. Basically, of course, there's a woman's circle as well. And then because this is set earlier in the timeline, so 1618, Sartar, much of Sartar is under lunar occupation. So we have members of the lunar garrison. Then a relationship diagram, again useful for the GM when running a campaign. Then we basically go away from the core setting of the Red Cow. We're dealing with the Wolf Slayers, the Cecina, a rival tribe, and a bit more information on them. Basically the historical map showing their movements over the years, and right up to kind of sort of like more recent events before we delve basically in the presence of basically the interference of the Lunar Empire. And their arrival, and also we have basically the greater politics of the area, with the right of the Queens dealing with the Cecina, and their lands and surrounds, because they'll play a role in the upcoming campaign. We have. And we go on to the Luther, their cults, Dangerford, and its description, a nice map. Dangerford. Dangerford is an important point on local river, the creek, and its crossing point, notably for the Isle, which sits at its middle across the ford, called the Isle Dangerous, and because there's a ford, it's a strategic point which has been battled over again and again in sort of like the timeline of the basically role-playing HeroQuest role-playing Glorantha. It's the site of several attempted incursions by lunar forces, basically culminating in quite a large battle as the lunar forces attempt to reinvade Sartar, and it's a really big, bruising battle, and it's a subject of one of the scenarios in the starter set. So more background, dealing with the different members of the clans surrounding the red cow. So you just more background, more NPCs. So we have we go on to the Emerald Sword. Important people of the Emerald Sword. Basically, again, same kind of format as for the Red Cow tribe, and really, it's building up sort of like the who really the Red Cow clan's enemies are and their rivals. We have to deal with the rebellion, acts of the rebellion, because obviously the region is under lunar occupation, so there are constant strife between occupiers and occupied, some of whom have basically decided to rise up. Basically, there are several rebellions throughout the period. There's a constant threat of bandits, those who won't accept lunar rule. So, you know, basically the possibility that player characters can actually join them or sympathise with them, and it's probably likely that they will at least sympathise with them. We have the Wolf's Land, the land of the Maboda tribe, which was basically events led to its dissolution. It's interesting, basically playing a role in current events is something I am gaming in. And lastly, we have the Talmori, the werewolves of the setting, creatures tainted by chaos, and able to transform into wolves at certain times. And lastly, we have appendices giving general terminology, military terminology, and we have some of the sample characters already. Should the a gaming group just want to grab these and start playing the Red Cow campaign. So yeah, I mean, this is, even if you're never going to play the 11 Lights, this has got a wealth of detail for sort of like the northern part of Sartar, its background, the particular clans and the politics. Now, some of that is superseded by events, things like the forthcoming Sartar, basically campaign book. And the other thing is the Red Cow Volume 2, the 11 Lights, will basically change some of the material in here because of events and so on, as you would expect with a campaign. But nevertheless, this is still good background material. It's still interesting. It's because you've got the customs and the background and the feel for it, and you can tie the characters in and involve them in events, and make the Red Cow clan sort of like their home if you wanted to. Or of course you could take this and use it as a model for a clan of your own. But yeah, as I say, sadly out of print. If you can find a copy, do grab it. If not, hopefully Chaosium will reprint this for the kind of Quest Awards label. Deserves to come back. In some ways, what's great about this is it's a campaign to run before the events of RuneQuest role-playing in Glorantha in 1625 and the Dragon Rise and the Hero Wars that come. This is sort of like the precursor to that. It's during a very early part of the Hero Wars, and sort of lays the foundations for events to come. So yeah, that's the Coming Storm Red Cow Volume 1, thoroughly recommended. So, thank you for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this, then please do click the like button down below. If you've got any feedback or comments, then I do take the time to read those, and I appreciate you adding them down below as well. And if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, then click that subscribe button, and you will see me back out here with a parcel, one or more books, and of course a nice hot cup of tea. So yeah, please do subscribe. Do appreciate that. Thank you again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will be back again in the very near future with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.